Hello and welcome back to CADvent 2024, 24 days of festive design in Autodesk Fusion in the lead up to Christmas. For today, day 13, we are designing some festive coasters. So let's jump into Fusion and get started. I'm going to start off by creating a new component as I'd like to create a couple of variations in this one. So I'm just going to write coaster 1 as the first component there. I'm then going to create a sketch on my XY plane and draw a circle. So I'm going to make this 90 millimeters, but you could maybe do it 100 millimeters depending on how you want to manufacture these. I'm going to design them for laser cutting, but you could also adapt the design for 3D printing if you wanted to. So finishing that sketch, I know that my plywood that I've got is 3mm thick, so I'm going to extrude that by 3 millimeters, which will give me my starting point for the coaster. I'm then going to create another sketch on that top plane of the coaster there, and I'm going to create a path for the text that I want to use. So I'm going to draw a circle and I'm going to make this 70 millimeters out. And I'm then going to create a small wedge. So creating a line out. I don't want this to snap to anywhere at this point. So I'm just going to create that line there and then use the trim tool to delete that section there. So it's just that we've lost some constraints. It's just because it doesn't know it's a full circle anymore. I'm then going to create text and use the text tool. I'm going to use the type text to be text on a path. I'm then going to select that text there, and the font that I want to use is a stencil font. So there is a built-in one called Stencil in Fusion, but you can also search other fonts that also have this stencil type effect. And basically you don't want any letters that have full like holes in them, otherwise the middle of the text would fall out. And basically just write whatever you want to go around the outside of your coaster. I want mine to say Merry Christmas in this ring around the outside, but you could say season's greeting, Happy Christmas, any other festive greeting, Happy New Year, something like that. And I'm also going to add in a couple of little stars. So I'm just going to use the star on the keyboard and add that in at the front and end of my text. I want my text to be on top of the line, not below the line. So I want that to be that. And I'm going to use a height of 5 millimeters for that. So I'm going to click OK. And this is why I've added in this small little wedge here. So what I want to do is just line up. So I want my text to kind of be centered around the top and bottom of the that. So I'm basically just going to use that little wedge to be able to position that. You can do it without this. It just won't line up the text directly sort of center lined on that. So I'm just using the point of that sort of built-in text star to line that up. And I'm happy with that there. So I'm going to click Finish Sketch. And then going to do an extrude. I'm going to select the font for what I want to do and my distance to object there. So if you were doing a different thickness, so say you got 5mm, you can just do to object and it'll still work. Or if you wanted to make it slightly thinner, if you were going to 3D print these, then you could do that as well. So that there is the basis for our coaster. Now at this point, this is where you can basically customize this to be whatever you want. I'm going to do a little reindeer design using a sketch on this. So I'm going to create a sketch on that top surface of the coaster again. And I'm going to use, you could bring in a canvas, you could do a Christmas tree, a snowman. I'm just going to use the spline tool to kind of create a reindeer type shape. So I'm just going to kind of, I hope this is going to come out okay. It's a little bit of freeform. Basically just design your shape that you want to cut out, and with a spline kind of you don't want to do too many points, but you want to do enough to give you the control of what you want to cut out. So that's kind of my basic reindeer now. And I want to put in some antlers. So what are antlers going to look like? Something like this, I think. And just using that spline tool to create the shape of what you want to cut out there. So I'm going to bring that one in. So that's my first antler. And then my second antler, I'm going to go out here. It's definitely a bit of an art using the spline tool. But because we're laser cutting this rather than 3D printing, we don't need to worry too much about the dimensions. And then I'm going to join that back up. And then it'll come up with this. And you can just, you can move some of those points around if you need to make it look like you want it to. So once you've finished your reindeer and you're happy with it, or whatever design you're doing, I'm then going to do another extruder cut, grab that shape, and again I want to go to object. So clicking to object on the back there and cutting that out and clicking OK. And there we go. That's a very basic reindeer there. You might want to move it down. I'm just going to grab all of the points and then use the move command. I didn't quite get it in the center there, so move, and I just want to do a straight translation down and maybe that way a little bit to make sure I've got it in the middle of the coaster there, because I want that to look like that. So there we go. There's a very basic coaster shape and cut out of a reindeer. Now, if you wanted to do a few different types, so what we can do is if we want to create variations of this, you could right click on the coaster, click copy, click on your top level and click paste as new. And this means any changes you make to the second one, like when we did those coffee stencils back earlier in CADvent, you'll be able to update the second one without it changing the first one. So I'm going to activate that second coaster that I've done, and then you could change this sketch that we've done here. So instead of a reindeer like that, so if we just delete that, we could do a Christmas tree or the Santa hat, or you could do some Christmas pudding. So Christmas pudding, what might that look like? So if we do quick circle there, and then we kind of do a Christmas pudding sort of icing like that. So if we do that and then we do an offset of that, we could do an offset up to the top like this. And then when you do your extrude, instead of doing the full shape, what you could do is just extrude these two parts through. Now, obviously, that doesn't quite look like a Christmas pudding yet. You need to add in some more detail, maybe some holly on the top and some few kind of Christmas pudding spots. So you can do kind of your own design with that. Now, if I go back to the reindeer coaster that we've got here, I'll show you how you can export this as a DXF for laser cutting. So make sure you're activating the component, click create new sketch. You're going to click on the top surface of your coaster. Now, you don't need to project any of the surfaces through. So we just click on that top surface, click finish sketch. And then if we go into here and we go to our sketches, I'm going to rename this one as the DXF. Now, if I hide the body and just hover over that, you can see that everything we want to cut in that DXF is there. So right click on there, save as DXF, and then you can save this to wherever you like to on your PC. And then you can load that up into your software that you use for laser cutting, and it will have all of the profiles that you need to laser cut for that. Now, if you wanted to 3D print this, you might want to go ahead and add a fillet around the top. So maybe 1 or 2 mil fillet just to give it a sort of smoother effect. And then you can right click on the body, save as mesh and export your STL file for 3D printing. So that would be an STL file, and you can use that for 3D printing. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, please do post them in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know what you'd like me to do for the rest of CADvent 2024. I'll see you in the next video.